Hey, what's up YouTube? Welcome to a new video today on In the Stars. So today's video I'm going to be talking about Aries Decans. Alright, so let's get into the video, y'all. So, as always, Aries or Decans, should I say, before I start off the Aries Decans video, just to give you a quick, detail about what decans are. Decans are 30-degree periods in each sign. Each zodiac sign is divided by 3 10-degree periods, which is 30 degrees. Your 30 degrees is, you can multiply that by 12, which is, 12 zodiac signs, and that's how you get 360 degrees within the astrological chart. So, the first decan, and I also have to say, each decan is ruled by, each decan has a ruling planet and a sub-ruling planet. The first decan is always ruled by, the first decan ruling planet is going to be its ruling planet, and sub-ruling planet will be the same as its ruling planet. The same does not apply for the sub-ruling planet of the second and third decans. Okay? So, the first decan of Aries is ruled by Mars, and the second decan is the second or sub-ruling planet is also ruled by Mars. So, these Aries will typically be more assertive because Aries or Mars is the planet of assertion, aggression, sexual energy, drive, sexual activity. If that, that's pretty much the same thing. But, so these are, you're going to be, like I said, these Aries, are going to be more assertive. They're going to be more aggressive. They can be more sexual. They can have a higher sex drive than the other Aries because you're adding extra energy of both of the same type of, you're blending the same type of energy in with one another. So it's like giving it a double dose of that. So they're going to, as I said, they're going to be more driven as well with whatever they do. When you think about that, you have to think about how does that ultimately influence somebody. So what I would say is somebody who's going to be, or Aries in this case, who's going to be more assertive or more aggressive, think about it. That's a good thing as well as could be a bad thing, because this could allow them to be just more aggressive in anything. You get what I'm saying? Well, whatever it is that they're going to apply themselves to be doing, this could allow them to be more stubborn or more self-centered, because they're like, no, they could be like, no, we're just doing this my way. I know the way to do it, and we're doing it my way, and they just go, boom, shoot head first into doing something. This could allow them to just jump right into things without necessarily thinking, being more spontaneous than normal. So, as I was saying, that could be a good thing, it could be a bad. It just depends on the individual. Think about that when you're thinking about in terms of sex or sex drive, sexual energy. This can allow them to jump into sexual relationships more quicker than others, or being more assertive when it comes to sexual relationships than others. They can just they'll be the type to, they're definitely going to be the type to initiate first, more than likely, especially for men, but for women, they can also be more of the initiators. Maybe not the initiators when it comes to actually the introductions, but they can, they might not be so willing to, or not necessarily hiding their feelings of where they want to take it to. On the dual opposite side of things, they can be aware of that. The individual, it does, like I said, depends on the individual. So they can be aware of that. So this can allow them to to not be that way, to wanting to shut part of themselves, to wanting for them to shut that part of themselves off because they know that they're that way. They know that they have this strong hunger for sex or sexual energy, and they can allow them, and they know, maybe, I need to calm that down some, or, not be as aggressive as I typically want to be, because, that energy is going to be within them. But if they're not, they can push it back to not allow it to come out, as I was saying, but it just depends on the individual. They have more assertion, than they're going to be naturally more driven, so they're going to, like I was saying before, they're just going to jump into things. Whatever they feel like that they want to do, boom, they're into it, like almost instantly. But keep in mind, they're a fire sign. So with that fire, that high energy, that high passion, this can allow them to burn out fast, so they can feel depleted. Because what happens if you're constantly running around, you're gonna burn out. You're gonna when it's time, when you sit down, you're gonna crash, right? So that's the same that can go with these Aries first decans. They can typically allow themselves to burn out quicker because of that high energy that they carry, that high drive that they are carrying, that natural aggression that they have inside of them. Second decan, Aries. Ruling planet is Mars, of course. Sub-ruling planet is the sun. Now, this can be very similar to the first decan. And why I say that? In some ways, of course, not all, but some, is because the sun is the planet of energy. It's your core self. It's passion. It's illuminating energy. So when you think of that, you think of, again, another Aries that is going to be highly energetic. They're going to have high amounts of energy naturally. That's giving off into that placement of their Aries sign. So when you're thinking about Aries ruling planet, which is Mars, which is again the planet of aggression, assertion, sexual energy, sex drive in general. And then you're talking about that high energy, that they will have a more high energy towards those things. They will have a more high energy when it comes to their assertion, when it comes to their aggression. They will seem more energetic when it comes to those things, to their sexual energy, to whatever it is that's driving them. And also these Aries will be more self-centered, because the sun planet in astrology is ruled, or energy gives off self energy. It's about the self, your core version of you, you as a whole, yourself. So Aries are already known to be self-centered because of their ruling planet is the head, and because they already hold this natural aggressive energy with them. So now you blend in this sun energy, they can be extremely self-centered. They can extremely be self-absorbed. Not necessarily saying, again, that that's just a bad thing. That can also be a good thing, because that means that they know how to take care of themselves, if you know what I mean. They know what's best for themselves, but on the flip side of that, if they're in balance, they can, as I was saying, they can not care, show lack of care for others, show lack of care for people who they supposedly care for. Or they're not saying supposedly, because they might really care for these people, but people care for people in their own kind of way, you know, but it might be hard for them to show that because they can always appear that they're putting themselves first when it comes to pretty much everything. The sun also brings prideful energy. And so when you're talking about self-centered, self-absorbed, or about the self, you're also talking about Aries who's going to be more prideful. So when it comes to in terms of knowing what they're going to drive against, or which direction they're going to go, or the assertion that they're going to use, the aggression that they're going to use, they're going to show more pride in that. When it comes to that sexual energy or who they might want to have sex with, they're going to be more prideful in that approach. You know, they can act more kingly or queenly when it comes to those types of things because of that prideful energy, that energy of the sun, you know, giving its way or influence its way on them. The sun illuminates. So this, and in terms of people, this means that they shine bright, which means that they are charismatic, can be magnetic because they're high charisma. Keep in mind, planets revolve around the sun, not the other way around. So as I was saying, that king or queenly energy that they hold, they naturally draw people into them. You can see them. These people or these Aries might typically like to be in bigger groups, or have people around them, or have people who really admire them to be around them. And they typically can be highly admirable people because of that confident, assertive energy that they hold, because of that high charismatic energy that they hold, you know, because of how much detail they take into caring for self that they hold, or put on to self that they hold. Third decan, Aries. Ruling planet, of course, is Mars. Sub-ruling planet is Jupiter. Jupiter is the planet of expansion, growth, luck, optimism, law, knowledge, travel. So these Aries are going to be naturally more ambitious because, as I said, Jupiter is the planet of expansion, growth, want to do things big, Jupiter is the biggest planet in our solar system. So Jupiter is the planet of expansion and growth and big and optimism, as I was saying. So they're going to also be naturally more optimistic, which also leads to Aries' high confidence, because this third decan will have extremely high confidence because they're always optimistic. They're always thinking they always have the big plans, and always think the best of things. You know, think of the best outcome of things, especially when it comes to their self, because they're in the first house. They're associated with the first house, and that's about their self, you know, and comes also comes into play with their with the part of the body that's ruled of them, which is their head. So they're about their self, and so they're going to be optimistic, about successful in whatever it is that they're putting their optimistic drive to. Because keep in mind, Jupiter is also the planet of luck, so that they will have luck in those things, in those aggressive, assertive, you know, optimistic nature of where they're applying those things to their sexual life. Even, you know, they can be very lucky when it comes to those things. That also comes with, because Jupiter is not only, like I said, the planet of optimism and luck, but also the planet of its wisdom as well. Jupiter also brings wisdom to the sign, because it brings knowledge. So that these Aries can can be wise of where to place their assertion at. They can be more wise to where they place their aggression towards. So they can be more thinking Aries. They can think before they act Aries. Like they might not necessarily, they're not going to be like that first decan Aries necessarily. They're not just going to just straight go into it. Now they can get overly optimistic. Keep in mind, because it's a duality. They can still just dive into things head first because Aries is still, their zodiac sign. Now they have that extra dose of ambition and that extra dose or a dose of optimism with them. They can still just be, like I was saying, overly optimistic or overly ambitious and still just go head first into something, but they might, or they would typically sit back and think about it more often or more than other Aries before they do just dive head first into it. Also, on the flip side, to them being more lucky, they can rely on that more. Dual side of that, they can place too much on luck, which can allow them to be content, if you think about it, or it can allow them to be even to getting lazy, to not maybe necessarily being as aggressive or as assertive as they typically should be, because they know that they can always bounce back. They know that they can always they feel confident that things are always going to play out in their favor. So this can allow them to wanting to not be as aggressive as they typically should be. Jupiter is also the planet of material wealth and possessions, so they can go after those things aggressively as well. Go after, like I was saying, being more ambitious, optimistic, can just go head first after those things that brings material wealth, material possession, or what they feel like will bring those things to them. So this can allow them to be very lucky in those matters as well, or very driven in those matters as well. But keep in mind, as I said, dual side of those things is that they can even they can be overly materialistic, like over materialistic or superficial or opportunist, like always, seeing things as an opportunity to gain, to get ahead, or even a schemer, a user, because they want to naturally go after these things. I'm not saying all of them or even most of them will. I'm just saying it, as I've said, it just depends on the individual. This could be the negative side of being driven to go after material gains more, material wealth or material possessions more, is that they can naturally being overly optimistic, or not optimistic, overly opportunistic, or like I said, overly materialistic, or even seeking sexual partners for the gains of those things, because of that sex drive. So being ambitious towards people who might have more possessions or who might have more wealth, because they feel like that this will help them, because keep in mind, they can be self-centered. So they feel like this can help their situation before it can help, before they can put themselves first in that regard. That's all that I have on third decan in Aries and all of my decans in Aries. So as always, I hope you guys liked the video. If you did, press the like button. Click the subscribe button if you want to stay in tune for future videos. Click the description box if you want to follow me on my social medias. Write in the comment section box down below if you got something to say, if you want give me some feedback on the video or anything. Thank you for your time, and until next time, y'all, peace and love.